Ladies and gentlemen, there comes a time in everyone's life when they realize something important. Not everyone will see your value. Some will underestimate you, some will take you for granted, and some will flat out ignore you. But the real question is, what do you do when someone ignores you? Do you beg for attention? Do you lower your worth just to be noticed? Absolutely not. When someone ignores you, you must first remember who you are. You are not a background option. You are not an afterthought. You are not someone who needs to fight for a seat at a table that you built. You are the table. You are the value. And when you understand that, the game changes. Teaching someone the price of ignoring you is not about revenge or cruelty. It's about self-respect. It's about setting boundaries so high that people think twice before disrespecting you. You don't teach them with anger. You teach them with your absence, with your silence, and with your unstoppable growth. When they ignore you, you level up. When they turn away, you focus on yourself so much that the next time they look for you, you're not in the same place. They have to look up to find you. You teach them that ignoring you means losing access to your time, your energy, your kindness, and your presence. You see, the moment you make yourself too easily available to someone who doesn't value you, you devalue yourself. But when you pull back and invest that energy into yourself, you become rare, and rarity creates value. Diamonds are valuable not because they beg for attention, but because they are rare, precious, and hard to get. So stop chasing people who make you feel invisible. Instead, work on becoming so successful, so happy, so fulfilled that they regret ever looking past you. Remember, your silence can be louder than any argument. Your absence can teach more than any words. And your growth can be the sweetest form of revenge. When someone ignores you, they think you'll always be there. Your job is to show them that you won't. Because the moment they realize they've lost you for good, that's when they truly understand the price of ignoring you. Know your worth, never forget that you are valuable, even if someone fails to see it. Don't beg for attention. Self-respect means not forcing anyone to notice you. Teach with actions, not words. Silence and distance can be more powerful than confrontation. Level up when ignored. Use the rejection as motivation to improve yourself. Set high boundaries. Make it clear that your time and presence are privileges, not guarantees. Rarity creates value like diamonds. Your worth increases when you are not easily accessible. Shift energy inward. Focus on personal growth instead of chasing validation. Absence speaks volumes sometimes. Walking away says more than staying and explaining. They must work to re-earn you. Don't return to people who only notice you after you're gone. Turn pain into power. Transform the hurt of being ignored into fuel for success. Knowing your worth is the foundation of every decision you make, every boundary you set, and every relationship you choose to keep. It is the silent strength that keeps you from settling for less than you deserve. When you truly understand your worth, you no longer seek validation from others, because your value is not determined by who notices you, praises you, or chooses you. It is determined by the unshakable truth that you were born with inherent value that no one can take away. Too often people get caught in the trap of thinking their worth depends on someone else's attention. If they are loved, they feel valuable. If they are ignored, they feel unworthy. This is one of the most dangerous mental prisons you can live in. But if you forget that, you will start to compromise yourself to keep people around, people who may not even deserve your presence in the first place. Knowing your worth means understanding that you are the prize, not the one chasing the prize. When someone ignores you, the first instinct for many is to fight harder for that person's attention. But chasing someone who doesn't see you only teaches them that they can give you the bare minimum and you'll still stick around. That's how people end up being taken for granted, because they never show the courage to walk away when they are not valued. Instead, when you know your worth, you carry yourself differently. You speak differently. You stop giving discounts on your energy, time, and presence. You understand that your kindness is not to be taken advantage of. Your loyalty is not to be abused. And your love is not to be played with. You know that not everyone deserves access to you, and you are willing to protect yourself from those who try to drain your spirit. Think about this. The most expensive things in life are not begging to be noticed. Luxury cars aren't knocking on people's doors asking to be driven. High-end watches aren't going on sale for 90% off just to be bought. They know their worth. And because they know their worth, they set their price high. They wait for the right person who understands their value. You have to operate the same way. When someone ignores you, don't take it as a sign that you are less important. Instead, take it as a sign that they are not capable of seeing your value, or perhaps they don't deserve to. You should never lower yourself to make it easier for someone to see you. If they can't recognize what you bring to the table, let them eat somewhere else. The right people will see your value without you having to prove it. Knowing your worth also means refusing to engage in relationships where you feel like you are auditioning for approval. You are not on trial. You do not need to earn basic respect and attention. Someone's behavior makes you question your place in their life. It's time to question their place in yours. When you have a deep sense of self-worth, you are no longer afraid of being alone. You would rather be in your own company. Building your own company, building yourself than be around people who make you feel small. That shift in mindset is powerful. It changes the way people treat you. Those who once took you for granted will start to notice the difference. They will feel the change in your energy because you are no longer operating from a place of desperation. You are operating from a place of confidence. And here's the truth. People can sense when you value yourself and they respond accordingly. If you carry yourself like someone who deserves respect, people are far less likely to disrespect you. If you carry yourself like someone who will tolerate anything just to avoid being alone, you will attract exactly that, anything. Knowing your worth is not arrogance, it is self-respect. It's about recognizing that your time is limited, your energy is precious, and your love is priceless. It's about refusing to settle for crumbs when you deserve the feast. It's about understanding that your life is too valuable to be spent convincing someone of what you already know to be true. You are worthy, always have been, all will be. So when someone ignores you, instead of chasing them or questioning yourself, stand firm in your worth. Let your silence speak. Let your absence remind them that your presence was never guaranteed. And let your self-respect teach them that ignoring you is not without consequences. Because once you truly know your worth, you'll stop trying to prove it to others and start living like it. There is nothing more damaging to your dignity than begging for someone's attention. The moment you have to plead, chase, or convince someone to notice you, you have already given away the most valuable thing you possess, not just your self-respect. Attention is something that should be given freely, not extracted like a debt. If you have to beg for it, it's no longer genuine. And if it's not genuine, it's not worth having. People value what they choose to focus on. If you are not one of those priorities, forcing yourself into their awareness will not make them value you more. It will do the opposite. It will show them that they can ignore you, and you'll still run after them, hoping for crumbs of acknowledgement. Begging for attention is dangerous because it sets a pattern. Once you start chasing someone's notice, they learn that they can withdraw it whenever they please, and you'll come running. This creates an unbalanced dynamic where they hold all the power, and you are constantly performing, constantly adjusting, constantly proving yourself. That is no way to live. That is no way to love yourself. Instead of begging for attention, you must realize that your presence itself is the value. When you show up in someone's life, you bring energy, ideas, kindness, love, and effort. You are not there to be a background character in someone else's story. You are the main character in your own. So why would you spend your time trying to convince someone to see you when there are people who would appreciate you instantly without any effort on your part? When you chase attention, you lose yourself. You begin to mold your words, your actions, even your personality, just to match what you think will make them notice you. Before long, you're no longer living authentically. You're living as a version of yourself designed to get their approval. And the worst part, it still may not work. Because no matter how much you do, you cannot force someone to value what they are determined to overlook. If someone ignores you, take it as an opportunity to redirect your energy inward. Use that energy to improve yourself, to pursue your goals, to become stronger in every area of your life. The more you focus on building yourself instead of begging for acknowledgement, the more you naturally command respect without having to demand it. There's a certain power in not chasing. When you do not beg for attention, you communicate something silently but powerfully. I know my worth, and I will not spend my life proving it to you. This changes the way people view you. The same people who once overlooked you will start to wonder why you're no longer chasing them. Curiosity turns to respect, and respect often turns to regret. But by then, you'll be too focused on your own growth to care. Think of attention like currency. If someone is giving it to you freely, it's a gift. If you have to beg for it, you're paying for something that should have been free. And the price you pay is your self-esteem. Once you realize that, you stop making that trade. You stop giving away your dignity for a fleeting moment of recognition. It's also important to understand that attention is not love. Some people will give you attention just enough to keep you around, without ever committing, respecting, or valuing you. If you mistake attention for care, you will find yourself holding on to people who don't truly have your best interests at heart. By refusing to beg for attention, you filter out those who are only there for their own benefit. Not begging for attention also protects you from manipulation. There are people who will deliberately withhold acknowledgement to keep you chasing them. It's a game of control. They feed your insecurity, so you keep running after them, doing more and more to earn a reaction. The moment you refuse to play that game, you take back your power. They can no longer control you with silence because you have learned to be comfortable without their validation. There is a simple truth you must remember. If someone truly cares, you won't have to fight for their attention. They will give it freely, consistently, and without hesitation. You will not need to perform for them. You will not need to beg. And you will never have to wonder where you stand. So don't waste your time chasing those who turn away from you. Let them go. Let them focus on whatever they choose to, while you focus on becoming so magnetic that the right people gravitate toward you without you lifting a finger. Your energy should be spent on people who see you, without you having to wave your hands in their face, shouting, "Oh, look at me." The ones who matter will already be looking. When someone ignores you, disrespects you, or underestimates you, your instinct might be to confront them, to explain how wrong they are, to argue your case until they see your value. But here's the truth. Words can be dismissed, argued against, or ignored just like you've been ignored. Actions, however, are undeniable. Actions cannot be erased by someone's opinion. They leave a mark that lingers far longer than anything you could ever say. Teaching with actions means you stop trying to convince people of your worth and start showing it through the way you live. You don't argue about respect. You move in a way that demands it. You don't chase to prove you're valuable. You build yourself until your value is so visible it can't be denied. Think about it. When someone doubts your potential, you can talk about how great you are, or you can quietly go out, achieve your goals, and let the results speak for themselves. Words tell people what you want to be. Actions show them what you already are. The difference is night and day. Too many people waste their time in endless conversations with those who have already made up their minds about them. If someone has decided to ignore you, no amount of talking will force them to listen. But if you remove yourself, focus on your growth, and succeed, your very existence becomes the answer to their doubt. You become the living proof that their decision to underestimate you was their loss. When you teach with actions, you also protect your energy. Arguing drains you. Trying to change someone's perception drains you. But when you channel that energy into improving your life, building your skills, and creating your own success, you win twice. You prove yourself to yourself, and you prove yourself to the world without needing their permission. Silence is one of the most powerful actions you can take. Not every disrespect requires a verbal response. Sometimes, the most impactful thing you can do is simply stop showing up where you're not appreciated. Your absence forces people to feel the gap you leave behind. It makes them realize that your presence was not as replaceable as they thought. Actions also remove the possibility of hypocrisy. Anyone can say they have self-respect, but if they keep going back to people who devalue them, their words lose all meaning. Actions make your boundaries real. Walking away, leveling up, refusing to engage in drama. These are the moves that teach people exactly how you expect to be treated. And here's something important. Teaching with actions is not about revenge. It's not about trying to make someone jealous or hurt. That's still giving them power over your behavior. True action-based teaching is about living so authentically, so successfully, and so confidently that you no longer need their acknowledgement to feel whole. You're not doing it for them, You're doing it for you. They just happen to see the results. Consider this example. You could spend hours telling someone how hard you work, how dedicated you are, how much you bring to the table, or you could show up months later with a thriving business, a transformed body, a renewed spirit, and a glow they can't ignore. Which one do you think leaves the bigger impact? Which one do you think makes them rethink the way they treated you? When you move with purpose without begging for anyone to notice, your actions carry a quiet confidence that is magnetic. People are drawn to those who don't need to explain themselves. It's the same reason some of the most respected people speak very little. They let their work, their presence, and their results do the talking. Teaching with actions also makes your growth undeniable. People can argue with your opinions, but they can't argue with the fact that you've changed your life. They can dismiss your feelings, but they can't dismiss the evidence of your success. Your progress becomes the loudest statement you could ever make. If someone has ignored you, let them. Use that time to master your craft. Improve your health, strengthen your mindset, and elevate your life in every way possible. When they finally notice you again, it will be on entirely different terms. You won't be the same person they ignored. You'll be a stronger, wiser, more accomplished version of yourself, and your actions will make that clear without a single word. Actions are permanent proof. Words fade, promises get forgotten, but results, those stay. And when you've built a life that reflects your worth, no one will need to be told what you deserve. They will see it, they will feel it, and they will remember it every time they think about the day they underestimated you. Being ignored can feel like a punch to the gut. It's human to want acknowledgement, to crave validation, to feel seen. But when that recognition doesn't come, when someone chooses to overlook you, that's the exact moment you have a choice. You can either collapse under the weight of rejection, or you can use it as fuel to rise higher than ever before. And make no mistake, rising higher. Leveling up is the most powerful response you could possibly give. Leveling up when ignored is about transformation. Here's the why. It's about deciding that if someone doesn't see your worth right now, you will give them no choice but to notice the new version of you later. The version that is unstoppable, unshakable, and undeniable. It's not about revenge, it's about self-evolution. It's not about proving them wrong. It's about proving yourself right. When someone ignores you, they're essentially saying, you're not a priority. That can sting, but it also creates space. And that space is your greatest opportunity. Instead of filling it with desperate attempts to regain their attention, fill it with progress. Fill it with discipline. Fill it with work that elevates your mind, your health, your skills, and your life. Think of every time you've been ignored as free fuel. Every silent phone, every unanswered message, every unacknowledged effort. It's all energy you can redirect into building the life you want. Imagine taking all that emotional energy you would have spent worrying, overthinking, and questioning yourself, and pouring it into your personal growth. That's how transformation happens faster than anyone expects. Leveling up is not just about physical changes, though those can be powerful. It's also about upgrading your mindset. The person who was ignored might have been too available, too dependent, or too eager for approval. The upgraded version of you will be confident, independent, fully capable of thriving without external validation. You learn to operate from a place of self-belief so strong that being ignored no longer destabilizes you. It just reminds you to focus on yourself. When you start leveling up, the shift is noticeable. Maybe you begin taking better care of your health, hitting the gym with consistency, and transforming your physical presence. Maybe you start excelling in your career or business, learning new skills, and positioning yourself for opportunities you never thought possible. Maybe you work on your mental and emotional growth, becoming calmer, wiser, and more resilient. The beautiful thing is this: leveling up is magnetic. Even if the person who ignored you never comes back around, the energy you give off will attract better connections, better opportunities, and better experiences. You stop chasing the ones who overlooked you because your focus is now on the abundance of what's ahead, not the scarcity of what you've lost. Here's the secret. When you're leveling up, you don't need to announce it. You don't have to post every small win or tell people you're working on yourself. Just do it. Let the results speak for you. One day, they will look for you in the same place they left you and find that you're no longer there. You've moved higher, further, beyond their reach. That realization alone will be enough to teach them the price of ignoring. There's also a psychological edge to leveling up when ignored. Most people expect you to shrink when they overlook you. They expect you to retreat, to sulk, to lose confidence. So when you do the opposite, when you come back stronger, sharper, and more successful, it disrupts their entire perception of you. You no longer fit into the small box they put you in. Leveling up also changes your perception. Once you see what you're capable of in your growth season, you stop needing people's attention as fuel. You realize that your power comes from within. And the moment you stop depending on others for your sense of worth, you become truly unstoppable. If you think about it, being ignored might be one of the best things that can happen to you because it forces you to stop seeking and start building. It gives you the chance to focus 100% on yourself without the distractions of trying to impress or maintain someone else's attention. That focus is the birthplace of greatness. So when the world turns away from you, when people underestimate you, when someone chooses to act like you don't matter, take it personally, but not in the way they expect. Don't use it to break yourself down. Use it to break through your limits. Channel it into every workout, every project, every late night study session, every bold step you take toward your dream. Make them regret it, not through words or confrontation, but through the undeniable success of the person you become. Boundaries are not walls to keep people out. They are gates that decide who gets to come in, how long they can stay, and what they can do while they're there. Setting high boundaries is about protecting your energy, your time, and your self-worth from being eroded by people who take more than they give, demand more than they deserve, and appreciate you less than you deserve. When someone ignores you, it's not just a sign that they don't see your value. It's also a test of your boundaries. Will you allow someone to keep access to you without meeting the basic standard of respect and acknowledgement? Or will you raise your standards and make it clear that your time and attention are privileges, not guarantees? High boundaries mean you have rules for how people can treat you, and you actually enforce those rules. Many people say they have boundaries, but when someone crosses them, they bend the excuse, they let it slide. Over time, this teaches others that their words mean nothing, that they can be disrespected without consequence. True boundaries are different. They're not suggestions, they're limits backed by action. Setting high boundaries starts with knowing exactly what you will and will not accept. If someone ignores you, manipulates you, or gives you inconsistent attention, your boundaries should be strong enough to prevent you from rewarding that behavior with more of your presence. If you continue to stay available when someone disrespects you, you're essentially teaching them that their actions are acceptable. Boundaries are also about self-respect. If you allow anyone and everyone into your personal space, emotionally, mentally, or physically, you dilute your value. Think about luxury brands. Part of what makes them valuable is that they are selective about access. They don't let everyone have them. And they certainly don't lower their standards just to make a sale. You must treat yourself the same way. You're not for everyone, and that's okay. When you set high boundaries, you naturally filter out the people who are only there for convenience. The ones who are just passing time with you. The ones who want the benefits of you without the effort. The ones who only remember you when they need something. Those people will fade away once they realize they can't meet your standards. And that's not a loss, that's a blessing. High boundaries are not about being cold or unkind. They're about being clear. You can still be compassionate while refusing to be used. You can still be understanding while refusing to tolerate repeated disrespect. You can still love people while keeping them at a distance if they prove they can't treat you properly. A big part of boundaries is learning to say no without guilt. No, I won't tolerate being ignored. No, I won't tolerate being ignored. No, I won't chase you for attention. No, I won't keep giving without receiving. No, I won't keep explaining why I deserve respect. Every time you say a no to something that diminishes you, you're saying yes, sir, to your own self-worth. High boundaries also send a message. I take myself seriously, and you should too. People can sense when you have strong boundaries, and they behave differently around you. They know they can't play games with your emotions. They know they can't disappear for weeks and then reappear expecting the same access. They know that disrespect has a cost, and that cost is losing you. When you lack boundaries, you invite chaos. You allow people to treat you however they want because you haven't set the rules. You get stuck in cycles where you're giving too much and getting too little, constantly drained, constantly chasing balance that never comes. High boundaries break that cycle by making it clear from the start what you expect and what you won't tolerate. One of the hardest parts of setting high boundaries is enforcing them with people you care about. It's easy to cut off a stranger who disrespects you. It's harder when it's a friend, a family member, or someone you love deeply. But boundaries are not just for strangers, they're for everyone. Love without boundaries becomes self-sacrifice. And self-sacrifice, when it's one-sided, turns into resentment. Another truth about boundaries: people who benefit from you having no boundaries will see your boundaries as a problem. They will call you selfish, a cold, or a difficult when you stop allowing them unlimited access to you. Don't take their words to heart. Those are the cries of someone who is upset that they can no longer exploit your openness. High boundaries don't push away the right people, they only repel the wrong ones. When someone ignores you, it's a perfect moment to reevaluate your boundaries. Ask yourself, how much access should they have to me? Do their actions match the privilege of being in my life? Have I been too available to someone who hasn't earned it? Then act accordingly. Tighten the gates, raise the bar. Protect your space like it's the most valuable real estate in the world, because it is in every area of life, whether it's relationships, business, or even material goods. The things that are rare, the ones most valued. Gold is valuable because it's not found everywhere. Diamonds are valuable because they take time, pressure, and refinement to create. Limited edition items are valuable because they cannot be easily replaced. The same principle applies to you. The more available you make yourself to those who don't value you, the more you dilute your worth in their eyes. Rarity is not about playing games or pretending to be unavailable. It's about understanding that your time, energy, and presence are precious resources and treating them as such. Too many people make the mistake of giving unlimited access to those who give limited appreciation. When you are always there, no matter how you are treated, you stop being a priority. You become a convenience. Think about it. When something is always in front of you, always available, you stop noticing it. But when it disappears, even for a little while, you realize its value. The same applies to people. If you're constantly at someone's beck and call, constantly giving, constantly trying to be seen, you remove the sense of rarity that makes people appreciate you more deeply. Rarity creates a sense of importance. It makes people pause. It forces them to recognize that you are not replaceable, that they cannot just take you for granted and expect you to still be there. The absence of your presence can be a powerful teacher. Sometimes, stepping back is the only way someone will realize the true weight of your presence. This doesn't mean becoming distant with everyone. It means being selective. Just like a rare gemstone isn't handed out on street corners, your time shouldn't be freely given to those who haven't earned it. You should be intentional about where you invest your energy. The more intentional you are, the more valuable your presence becomes to those who truly appreciate it. Rarity also works hand in hand with self-respect. When you know your worth, you don't feel the need to constantly prove it by being over-available. You understand that sometimes saying no or taking a step back is the most powerful move you can make. By doing so, you teach others that your time is not an endless resource. They must treasure it while they have it. Another truth about rarity: it creates anticipation. When you're not always accessible, people begin to value the moments they do have with you. They pay more attention, they engage more fully, and they respect the interaction because they know it's not guaranteed to happen again anytime soon. This is why certain relationships feel more special than others. The people involved don't take each other for granted. It's worth noting that rarity doesn't mean being cold or withholding affection from those you care about. It means making sure your presence is meaningful. You can be generous with love, support, and kindness while still maintaining a sense of self-protection. You don't have to be everywhere for everyone. You just have to be intentional about when and where you show up. If you've been ignored by someone, one of the strongest ways to respond is to remove the excess access they once had. When you stop being immediately available, they will feel the shift. Suddenly, the person they thought would always be there is harder to reach. And suddenly, your time must be earned instead of expected. This creates a contrast that can make them realize just how much they were taking for granted. This concept is deeply rooted in human psychology. Scarcity increases perceived value. People want what they can't easily have, and they respect what they have to work for. When you make yourself rare, you automatically command more respect. Not because you're playing mind games, but because you're positioning yourself as someone whose time and presence are treasures, not commodities. Being rare also prevents burnout. When you give too much of yourself too often, you drain your own energy and leave little left for your own growth. By limiting your availability, you preserve your mental and emotional resources. This allows you to pour more quality into the moments you do share with others, making them more impactful. Remember, if you're always available, you risk becoming invisible. If you're always saying yes, people stop appreciating your yes. If you're always present, people stop feeling your presence. By embracing rarity, you create space for people to miss you, to value you, and to understand that you are not just another option. They are privileged to have access to you at all. So when you find yourself being ignored, don't fight harder for attention. Instead, withdraw a little. Let your absence highlight your value. Focus on yourself, your goals, and your growth. In doing so, you not only increase your worth in the eyes of others, but you also remind yourself of just how irreplaceable you truly are. At the end of the day, life is too short to beg for someone's attention. Your time is precious, your energy is sacred, and your presence is a gift, not something to be taken for granted. The people who truly value you will never ignore you, and the ones who choose to overlook you have already made their decision. Your job is to make sure that decision costs them more than they ever imagined. So walk away with confidence, not bitterness. Build yourself so high that the version of you they once ignored is unrecognizable. Let your silence, your growth, and your success be the loudest reminders of what they lost. Because when you know your worth, you never have to chase it. You simply become it.